So another question that comes up is why are there so many different types of powers of attorney, and do you need to have all these different types?
The powers of attorney, in my personal experience, have been really important, and I've appreciated all the nuances and the different types of powers of attorney that you can have. So, for example, I had a power of attorney put in place for my father that I was able to use before he was considered to not have capacity. So it gave me access to his funds. He didn't have to worry about signing documents and so on.
Okay, so I'm sorry, when you say not have capacity, you're talking about mental capacity, right? He might be showing signs of dementia?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so this power of attorney has allowed me to take care of my father, even though he still has mental capacity. He, just this year, though, he is sort of shifted to where he wouldn't be considered to have mental capacity because his memory is like about 2 minutes or 3.
Okay.
Like 5.
So he has some good days and bad days, maybe.
Right.
Sometimes he kind of remembers
Right.
things, but other times he's not doing so
Right.
well. Okay.
But the power of attorney that we had in place worked really well for us because I didn't have to run after a specialized doctor to say that he didn't have mental capacity.
Okay.
I could still function for him for his personal care and his property. So power of attorney for property means that I can take care of him financially. So I'm paying for his care and I can take care of that, and there's still insurance payments that are coming out and I can monitor that. I also have power of attorney for his personal care, which means I decide, where he lives, what kind of care he gets at the physician, whether he's going to have shots or surgery. He has a very low-grade cancer. So all of that becomes very important now for me to have the power of attorney so that I can make those really important decisions in his best interest.
Mm-hmm. So it's good to have these things in place, even when someone still has full mental capacity, is able to make these decisions on their own, because, let's face it, Alzheimer's, dementia, these things last over many years sometimes. Right. And you never know when you're going to when you're going to have a good day or a bad day.
That's right. The shift doesn't just happen all of a sudden. And so this power of attorneys worked really well for our family. I know some other families may want to have a power of attorney in place where there is a condition that they do have to have one or two physicians, giving their personal opinion or their professional opinion that there is no longer mental capacity. And that may be a safeguard for the person who has that power of attorney in place. There's also power of attorneys that you can have in place that are really specific. I just give permission for this person to act for the sale of the house, that kind of thing. And those are nice because they're only, that you've only granted power of attorney for one specific event.
Now, is there any documents that will help guide you in knowing what type of medical care your father would want to have? Maybe not making the decisions for him, but just so that his wishes have been made known to kind of guide you in that process.
Right. Sometimes it's referred to as a living will.
Okay.
Right. And I'm from Canada and practice in Canada. And so I've done living wills for individuals. And the living will sets out the wishes of the individual as to whether they want to be revived, if they're going to be in a lot of pain, if they're going to have no cognition, they don't recognize people, they have no life to speak of, quality of life to speak of because they're quadriplegic, and they don't have, mental capacity, and they have debilitating pain. So those are all things that are part of what's been a living will. Now, in Canada, the living will it's like a quasi-legal document in the sense that you might have the living will, but if you were in a coma and you were going to be quadriplegic, your kids could still say, we just can't do it, and we're going to make sure mom and dad lives, and maybe something, and they'll turn a corner. But the law has been changing in Canada, and now those living wills are much more of a legal document than they have been in the past.
Okay.
And they will most likely be followed very carefully the wishes of whoever wrote them out.
So something to keep our eyes on and look forward to. But what I'm hearing you say is the medical power of attorney right now kind of trumps everything else. Whoever has the medical power of attorney, whatever they say, that's the type of care the person's going to get.
You're right. I think it's getting to be a little bit of a gray area, but
Okay.
I agree with what you've said. That is the case right now.
Well, thank you, Grace, for helping us to understand the differences between all those powers of attorney.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Mm-hmm.